指の例だ。かかってこい。俺に一撃でも入れられたらお前らの下についてやる。手始めに渋谷の人間を皆殺しにして。
Hello. Welcome to my little theory video. Probably less theory, more like just talking about thoughts. Ignore the panel on screen right now. It doesn't have any significance to what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about, because you're not talking. I just thought it was a cool looking panel, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, that's why it's there. That JJK is very good at drawing. It's crazy. But I wanted to talk about the new chapter and some theories I have concerning some of the dialogue that Sukuna and Kenjaku have said in this chapter and past. Also, I apologize if I'm being a little quiet. I have people in my house right now, so I can't be as jubilant, as expressive as I usually am. Don't go check my other videos. I'm not very expressive in those either. Anyways, theory time. So in chapter 246, we saw Sukuna, kind of running the hands with everyone, and we saw that Higuro survived, which I don't know why people were assuming he was dead already. Like, he's not Kashimo. I love Kashimo, by the way. But, basically the chapter is essentially telling us that Higuruma is built different. He's like a genius of sorcery, which is pretty evident if you paid attention. His like technique, or learning how to use curse energy, like reverse engineering it from his domain, was, pretty evident of how intelligent he is when it comes to sorcery. But in this chapter, Higuruma learns how to use domain amplification, which I believe we've only seen from, Jogo Hanami. I believe Kenjaku uses it. We can probably assume he knows it anyway. Oh, we know Sukuna uses it. I think that's it, honestly. I can't think of anyone else who's used domain amplification. So, that's 4 people who can use domain amplification, and then our 5th would be Higuruma now, which is really impressive for him. And this potential, this growth, does not go unnoticed by Sukuna. He's, astonished that Higuruma is growing at such an exponential rate. He's clearly really strong. Now, I do have a little theory concerning that before we get on to, the main thing I want to talk about. So, I don't believe we've ever seen it, but, there's only been one time where domain amplification has been used after a domain has been opened, and that was Sukuna. But we haven't seen him use domain amplification since he couldn't open Shrine anymore, I believe. I don't think we've seen him use it. But knowing that, I think it's quite possible that Higuruma can open his domain again. If he can, domain amplification is coding yourself in your domain. It sounds like he can, open his domain again, honestly. And Sukuna really needs to be nerfed, because he still has Cleave in his mantle. Which, side note, I think the curse tool being taken was brilliant. Nobody expected it, and it was laid out earlier that special grade tools have curse techniques imbued in them. Nobody remembered that in the week between chapters, or in between, in the week getting ready for the domain expansion from Higuruma. But I thought it was brilliant, and the people who are saying, "Oh no, that shouldn't have done that, it's assable," or whatever, even with Kamutoke, I don't know if that's how you say it, or if that's even its name, even with Sukuna's lightning thing, he still would have killed everyone. Does anybody seriously think that, Kusakabe is gonna, tank a bolt of lightning? Kashimo was like stunned by it, and he's Kashimo, who has electrical resistance. So I don't think it really matters. So yeah, that's my little like domain amplification theory. Higuruma can probably open his domain again. And even if you can use domain amplification while not being to open your domain, I still think he's gonna open it again because he's still alive, which I wasn't expecting. Like, no, I expected him to be alive, but I expected him to die in this chapter, or like, I didn't expect him to grow. But I love Higuruma, so I'm glad he's still alive. Anyways, so my theory is contingent on what Sukuna says about Higuruma. He says that Higuruma's like a gemstone compared to everyone else in like on the field right now, or just in general. Sukuna sees Higuruma as like has enough potential to like reach the heights of Satoru Gojo, which is pretty impressive. You might know Gojo. He almost beat Sukuna, you know. Did a video on him. Go watch it, please. Anyways, so we do know that Higuruma is appraised by Sukuna, and he's quite valuable in his eyes. But that's not all. Kinjaku also really likes Higuruma. He says that he doesn't care about any of the awakened sorcerers. He only cares about the reincarnated sorcerers. Apart from Higuruma, he's interested in him. So, my little theory is that maybe, just maybe, someone is taking Higuruma's body. Now, it's not exactly, like, important that he's, like, absurdly, like, he's growing at an exponential rate, because, I mean, even if, like, let's say Sukuna, he took over Iji, okay. Sukuna took over Yuji's body with he had no cursed energy, was able to, you know, kill a grade 2 curse, I believe, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's just say that they're both interested in Higuruma for reasons. What if Sukuna has to resort to taking Higuruma's body because Megami starts fighting back, or I can't really think of a reason for Sukuna to take Higuruma's body. But it's mostly Kinjaku I'm going to focus on, because Kinjaku got his head cut off pretty cleanly by Yuta, and that's pretty bad for him. But he also mentions how his will be passed on, and when that chapter first came out, people were speculating, oh, what if he takes Takaba's body, or Yuta's? And first off, I think Yuta being the body would be really cool. I love Yuta, don't get me wrong, but I saw a piece of, like, clickbait fan art of Yuta with the stitches on his head, and it looked really good, I'm not gonna lie. So I would like that. But I think that Higuruma would be a pretty good option for Kenjaku, because he's weaker than Yuta, obviously, so he can take his body much easier, especially as a decapitated head. And, I mean, I feel like his technique, Kenjaku has the intelligence, the intellect to understand law, possibly better than Higuruma. Whereas, like, Sukuna, what's he gonna do? Like, try to, like, persecute someone with the technique if he took his body? I think Sukuna is just interested in, like, how much he can push Higuruma to grow. I also think that Higuruma may not learn RCT. Okay, so I think it's really interesting that Higuruma learned domain amplification before RCT, which, I mean, this is the first person we've seen do it, so, but we've only seen one person learn RCT, that would be Gojo. But so I think it's interesting that Higuruma didn't learn RCT, because that opens the possibility of, like, well, Geto didn't learn RCT either. That's some parallels between them. Very few, but I don't know. Lobotomy Kaisen, right? So, it's... I mean, you could always argue, oh, well, Higuruma had the domain first, learned backwards. And, like, yeah, you're right. It's probably that. But it doesn't excuse the fact that he doesn't know RCT. When he is supposedly a genius, he can probably learn it in this fight. But it'd be interesting to see, like, a parallel between Geto and Higuruma. When Kenjaku takes the body, they learn RCT through, you know, Kenjaku's application of it. So I think it's really interesting that Higuruma is growing so much, you know. Both Kenjaku and Sukuna are interested in him. They want something from him. And Sukuna's a lot more forward, a lot less, I'd say a lot less conniving, so I don't think he really wants his body. Though I do think it's a possibility. Which also, I forgot to mention this theory too, Executioner's Blade. I think Sukuna may be able to bypass the blade by using his last finger. Now, we don't know where the last finger is. We only think Gojo knows where the last finger is. So that could be something. But if the Executioner's Blade hit Sukuna's last finger, technically it killed Sukuna. So they would have to go for another retrial. Now, you might say, oh, well, his soul's not completely dead, but, I mean, it did eliminate a soul, which is what, Yuji and Higuruma were actually talking about. That if they stabbed Megami's body, or Sukuna in this case, Megami would be okay, only Sukuna's soul would get, like, pierced with the blade. So, I think that it's quite possible Sukuna loses that finger some way, somehow. So, I think that's a possibility. I also want to mention that Kusakabe mentions the fire arrow, which is the first time I think it's been referenced since Shibuya. Honestly, it wasn't even referenced in Shibuya, it was just shown and then never brought up again, and I think it's interesting that Kusakabe saw it. I figured that it was like a secret that nobody knew, like on the protagonist's side. So, I think that's interesting. And maybe someone learned how to do something similar to the black box open thing. So, who knows about that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my theory. Kenjaku is going to take Higuruma's body. And I think that's a little bit more founded in logic than, like, Takaba or Gojo. Which, by the way, I've seen people say, like, oh, Kenjaku can't take Gojo's body because of the 6 eyes. I'm pretty sure that it's stated that Kenjaku just can't beat a 6 eyes user unless they're a child, where, you know, they can't fight at all. And taking a child's body won't work because his brain is literally too large for the head. So 6 eyes, I don't think 6 eyes defends against the Kenjaku's technique, but I think Kenjaku's like actual interest in Higuruma says more. He's actually fascinated with him. He knows about his potential. And even among reawakened sorcerers, because I believe Hazanoki is a reawakened sorcerer. Actually, let me go check that real quick. Okay, so yeah, Hazanoki is a reincarnated sorcerer, which he's a really bad one, I'm not gonna lie, so... Even among the reawakened, or reincarnated sorcerers, Higuruma is clearly more powerful, has more potential. So, I mean, the only reincarnated sorcerers that we've seen that are... we can assume the others have died out, or are hiding because they're weak. Ryu Ishigori, Uro, the Shikigami guy that Yuta one-shots off screen, and then Kashimo, so that's basically 3 reincarnated sorcerers that are special grade at least. And Ryu and Ishigori and Uro are pretty soundly defeated by Yuta. You know, in a, basically a 1v2, or I guess 2v2 because Rika, but anyways. So basically, Kashimo is the top of reawakened, reincarnated sorcerers, I think we can say, considering that Sukuna one-shots Ishigori, and then Kashimo actually, like, you know, doesn't die immediately, just almost immediately. So yeah, I think it's interesting that Kenjaku actually knows about Higuruma. Like, he's genuinely interested over, like, probably the rest of the incarnated players as well. The only one he's probably, like, more interested in would be, like, Uro, Kashimo, and Ishigori, and 2 of them are dead. We don't know about Kashimo, but I kind of hope he gets up a little bit and, like, fights a little more, but his time's a little past for that, so whatever. But yeah, that's my theory. Kenjaku takes Higuruma's body because he is strong. And he needs a body. And then I guess and then Sukuna's last finger is gonna get hit with the Executioner's blade. Because that'll probably, like, ruin, like, or get rid of the Executioner's blade. Higuruma can still open a domain because he has domain amplification. Which, by the way, would make him extremely powerful in comparison to a lot of other people, because most people can't open a domain twice in a day, and Higuruma probably, it's looking like he can under this theory. So that already puts him on, like, the path to Gojo level. So yeah, that's pretty neat, which, I mean, Gojo level is where Sukuna says he can end up. He's not there yet, but, like, if he keeps going, he'll probably reach the heights. That's what Sukuna says, basically. So yeah. And that's my theory. Sukuna's finger gets pierced. Higuruma's taken. Sukuna wins. Yeah, that's about it. But I love Higuruma. One of my favorite characters. I love all the characters in this. What am I talking about? But I am okay with his death. I know it's gonna happen, so. But yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. Subscribe if you want. Sometimes I upload videos. I should have a Lethal Company video coming out probably after this. It might be out before, but go check it out. I made a Gojo video talking about Gojo versus Sukuna. Watch that if you're bored. Watch all my content, please. I want to become a YouTuber. Anyways, thank you.